Okay, hello co-op community and welcome to our September open council meeting. As a reminder, this meeting is open to all members in good standing and it is a working meeting, so we are following a tight agenda and we ask that any comments or chats from the members are saved until the open forum. And of course, we only have one person here, so I'm not too worried about the open forum period and people raising their hands and whatnot. But if anybody has any questions after watching this video, feel free to email them to council@kingstonfoodcoop.com and we'll make sure to answer them in one of our newsletters or at the next meeting. At the end of this meeting, we will stop recording and close it to just council members to have an executive session that allows us to talk about any potentially sensitive topics. So we can get into some of our co-op updates. I will pass it to Siobhan for some membership updates, and I can share also my screen.
Okay, well, typically we usually start the council meetings with our membership count, but that is not super up to date because we're in the process of issuing refunds. So I do not have the number, but hold on, I can try to find it really quick. I'm sorry, we use Airtable to hold all our membership data, and Airtable right now is I have all these filters on, so 1 second. View. I'm so sorry. I forgot that we usually start the meeting off of that, so I don't have the number. So can we skip it this time? Because it's gonna take me a minute to filter through Airtable. But I think it's around 12 in the 1260s, so 1,260, something like that. And our solidarity numbers are around 248.
Can we circle? Can we
Yeah.
circle back at the end just to like have it up to date?
Yeah, we
Okay.
could do that.
Give you time to pull it up. Okay, cool.
Sounds good. In terms of community engagement and events, we are launching our pilot market, sliding scale market this Sunday on September 24th from 12 to 3 p.m. And we are still open to having volunteers. We could really use some hands. So we're hoping that co-op members will want to get involved. It's a really cool opportunity to just bring the community together through food and do something that's pretty innovative and hasn't exactly been done before, which is a sliding scale model. So actually, I'll pass it to Siobhan if you wanted to add anything to that. I don't know if you did, Siobhan.
About volunteering?
Yeah, and the market in general.
Yeah, so just to go off of what Kendall said about volunteering, we could use help with the setup, market setup. The market itself is from 12 to 3, but setup will begin before that, so probably 11 a.m. and breakdown will hopefully be wrapped up by like 3:30 to 4 o'clock. So we'll need help with setup, breakdown, help during the market, which will include like helping distribute the food, like, you know, tabling essentially, and helping people, like helping bag produce and things like that. Accepting like payments / donations for the sliding scale, if people wish to offer that. And we also need help making some signs for the market. So if we have any creative members that want to help do that, that would be a huge help. Also, we've been trying to get a face painter. So if any members really like working with kids and are artistic, we could use a face painter for the market. Additionally, I guess, should I just talk about like what to expect at the market on Sunday?
Yeah, I also wanted to add, if anyone is watching this after the market is done, we are piloting this to make it a more regular thing in the future. So definitely still reach out, even if you missed this market. We're looking for people to be involved in the future. But if you want to add to what to expect, Siobhan, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so we've been working really hard to get a variety of offerings for this market, including fresh produce, some baked goods, some dry things like beans, some food that's ready to go, like some food that you can eat there, coffee, things like that. And this will change obviously every market that we get, and hopefully we do have some regular vendors slash donors, and we can provide like consistent offerings. But this is again our pilot market, and it's sliding scales, so it's new. So it won't function the exact same as like a farmer's market. But the idea is there that it's supposed to be like a fun shopping experience that people can come and interact and see things from local businesses and food that's locally grown, and we'll have music there. And like I said, we're working on getting children's activities, so that will hopefully encourage families to come out as well. Yeah, that's all I have. Like I said, it's a pilot. There's definitely going to be a lot of room for growth, so putting that out there that it's um we're trying to make it the best that we can, but not expecting it to be perfect, but expecting it to be great overall. So it's going to be at the Restorative Justice Center, which is on Broadway at 733 Broadway. If it is not raining, it'll be outside in the parking lot, but if it is raining, it will be indoors. So just look for signs to point you to the right entrance, but hopefully, fingers crossed that the weather is good and that we can just have it outdoor, and that will be really great. But that is all I have. I will pass it back to Kendall.
Yeah, thank you. So just some other updates. We are learning and growing, seeing what works for our members in the community, and it seems like maybe a monthly meeting isn't necessary or wanted by you all. So we are planning to switch to bi-monthly meetings going forward. We'll of course share this in a communication. And along with that, the office hours seem to not be utilized as much as we had expected. So we're thinking about switching to a quarterly, so for once every 3 months, coffee with the co-op, which would be an opportunity to come talk to us in a coffee shop, have some snacks, have some free coffee, and just talk to each other and fellowship in that way. So we will of course share these out in more detail, and hopefully at the market we'll have a chance to get more feedback from you all and really talk to everyone and see what works best for our co-op community. And I will pass it to Kevius to talk about finance.
Sure. And thank you, CIC, for setting up that council coffee, coffee with the council date. I really look forward to that. Yeah, I'm doing finance in place of Sway, who's unfortunately away today, but our account holdings are as such. We have a checking balance of $256,634.58. We have a savings account balance of $100,000. And we also have $56,500 with our fiscal sponsor, GWI, Good Work Institute. And our member equity balance as it holds, and this is pre any reimbursements following the last communication, is $191,700, which brings our net holdings, which is operating expenses, to $221,434.58. And a big note is that reimbursements have begun for some folks. All will be processed by the end of December. And please look out for notifications specific to you from finance@kingstonfoodcoop.com regarding your reimbursement and next steps. And if you have any questions about where reimbursements are and sort of like the status of that, please email finance@kingstonfoodcoop.com. Kendall?
Yeah, and I know we talked about also adding that there's been some confusion, I think, amongst our members from our recent communications about what's going on with member equity and what's going on with our development as a co-op. And maybe we can come back to this at the end also and just talk a little bit about where we're going. I think that the community has seen our recent development of losing the building as a huge shift, maybe a bigger shift than it is in reality. So I know we talked about letting everyone know that we're not using member equity at all, but particularly not toward the market or any outside endeavors. Your member equity is being reserved for emergencies that would come after the store is open, the store that is still coming. So just to be clear about that, I think some people have been confused. So yeah, and I'll move into governance on that note. So recently we did internal council officer reviews and feedback, and council officers are those positions that are president, vice president, secretary. So we actually don't have a vice president right now, and I am the meeting chair, and that is a position that's actually not in our bylaws, but this process of going through elections every year for new officers is in the bylaws. So this is just a housekeeping thing that we're doing, receiving some feedback, talking to each other. And then coming up, this week, we'll be electing internally amongst the council members. We'll be electing those positions again for this coming year. And Kevius and I just returned from the National Food Co-op Conference in St. Paul, Minnesota, which was a really amazing experience. We got to meet up again with all of our peers, a bunch of developing cooperatives, startup cooperatives across the country who we met last year and who we've been in communication with this whole time. They're super huge supports to us. And we attended a bunch of sessions in this conference and learned a bunch and got to just be re-excited about the co-op and the cooperative movement. It was really awesome. Maybe we can share out a couple of learn points in a newsletter coming up or something. But do you want to add anything to that, Kevius?
The conference was incredible. There are a lot of really good co-ops doing a lot of really good things. And it was really nice because though we've been so busy, as everyone knows, with our co-op stuff and we've been planning like a market and trying to get that before the store gets open, it's nice to know that there are other co-ops across the nation facing the same reality as us. Like we've met a co-op who had 2 buildings that didn't work out and now they're on their 3rd one, and they had the same inkling of creating markets for the community until they find a permanent space. So it was nice to know that we're in tune with what the co-op world is doing. But yeah, I look forward to writing about it in a future newsletter. And if anyone wants a one-on-one chat just about where co-ops are or just more information about the Food Cooperative Initiative and specifically the Black-led track within, feel free to shoot us an email at council@kingstonfoodcoop.com and we can share some more resources that we've just received in PDF form to you about solar co-ops and the process and stuff.
Yeah, thanks for bringing that up. And to add to that, there is also a co-op who was moving much slower on their building than they expected. So they started a weekly market in their parking lot. So it's really awesome that we have these peers to lean on for support. And it's a good reminder that we're not in this alone and we're not in a bad place and we're no worse off than any other developing co-op. It's a lot of hard work and it will totally work out and be worth it in the end. And the last thing for governance coming up is just scheduling our strategic planning for 2024, because this year is going super fast and we're almost there. So lastly, I'll just pass it back to Kevius one more time for an update on the executive committee.
Sorry. Great. Executive committee, for the folks who probably need a refresher on what the executive committee is. The executive committee is a group of professionals that overlap with our project's goals. So folks who've had experience in starting grocery stores, for example, they are here to create infrastructure with us because we found that there's room for professional development among the council, everyone involved. And so we just need those folks who've gone through the ranks before to help develop infrastructure and best practices with us and just lead us to the successful development of the Kingston Food Co-op. So with the executive team, we have everyone who we really wanted to be on the board onboarded. So there's Melissa Donahue, who has a lot of corporate finance background. She's stepping on to do finance operations and donor cultivation. There is Joel Mejia, who runs Miomai Hydroponic Farms, and he's on to help us with vendor relations and branding. There is Candace Garnes, who's with Thrive On, who has a background in strategic marketing and communications, who's stepping on to help us do marketing and outreach efforts. There's Shara, who's with the People's Place. If y'all have been to the People's Place, you more than likely know Shara. She coordinates all of the volunteers, and she's helping us with volunteer and community grants. And then there's Elizabeth Guthrie, who's with the Future Farms and what is it, permaculture, who's helped start the African Burial Ground and other related projects with youth, who's coming on to help us with education and community content. And I want to say that that's all from the executive team. I could be missing one, and then there's me. but the whole everyone is onboarded. Everyone's contracts have been signed. And next week, we're looking to schedule a company-wide, so that's the executive team in addition to the council orientation, to just touch base and figure out how we can support each other for the successful growth of the market that we're launching September 24th as a pilot, and the successful development of the Kingston Food Co-op as we shift to go into looking for sites and creating a whole new business plan and such like, and things like that. So yeah, I'll pass it back to Kendall.
Thank you. And I will pass it to Siobhan if you were able to get those numbers possibly.
Yeah, so our updated membership number is 1,226, and that includes 248 Solidarity members.
Okay, thank you. And do we have any other new business that we should talk about or share out? If not, then we can move into our open forum. If our one member who is here has any questions or comments, please feel free to ask them.
Hi, thank you. Yeah, I became a co-op member a couple years ago, I think when you guys were pretty early in your fundraising or our fundraising. And then I kind of, to be honest, hadn't been paying a lot of attention because I just figured it was going to take you guys a while to get the building up and running, and I got busy with other stuff. But then I just recently, found out about the loss of the building. So I did kind of, and I apologize, I probably missed meetings where you talked about this, but I'd love a little, maybe 5-sentence recap of what the next steps are in terms of a more permanent scenario.
Yeah, could we stop sharing the screen, Siobhan, please? So yeah, the next steps are, well, I want to say right now, we haven't formally begun looking for new sites because we're still kind of like downgrading from the last site, mentally censoring ourselves from all the investment that we put into the current site before we do that. But the next steps for us is one big thing that we saw going into the building of the site was that we were building in a majority minority neighborhood with a majority affluent membership. So what we really hope is that in the next few months, this market will be able to shift our membership so we can get more of those marginalized voices in. And as soon as humanly possible, that is sort of like the break of the winter and when new sites come on live, and we've already gotten folks who've given us leads, but as soon as humanly possible, we will take that sort of shifted membership in 2024 to really begin the process of looking for new buildings. And fortunately, we have a lot of support behind us. And we think that, we will be able to get something flowing pretty relatively soon. But yeah, we have to begin that search. And I just want to say a commercial building in Kingston, New York in Midtown right now is very hard to find. So it may take longer than any of us have expected, but we do plan on beginning that active search in a formal matter like very soon, like in the next 3 months or so. Yeah.
Gotcha. May I ask a couple more questions?
Go for it. You're the only one here. You got the phone, you got the mic. Like, let's go.
This is just a point of information. I'm not particularly concerned about getting my investment back, but I'm curious to know, like, are you guys trying to give everybody their investments back and then regroup and raise the money again? Or are you just gonna give money back to people who asked for it and save the rest for the next steps of getting a building?
It's the second, the latter. So we will give everyone who've asked for their investment back, and then we will save the rest and keep going. And it's on a rolling basis, so there's no like timeline or shut off to when we will return whatever you invested into the co-op. So like there isn't like a, hey, we'll like stop investments here and then keep going. You can request it anytime. And we're fortunate enough, and the team has worked hard enough to be able to secure capital outside of member equity. So like we don't like have to use member equity at all. So it's really on a rolling basis. We're not necessarily phasing it out, but we are like, hey, you know, whenever you request it, we'll give it to you. Keep
That's
going.
fine. I don't really, like I said,
Yeah.
I don't need mine back. I'd rather support the forward movement of this effort.
Mhm.
And then my other question is, I'm just out of curiosity, are there any city program, you know how RUPCO deals with like gets buildings from the city and then turns them into affordable
Mhm.
housing? Are there any organizations like that or any kind of support that can be found in terms of getting a commercial building that's not for housing?
So the short answer is no, with respect to formal support in finding like city surplus properties, because that's what usually it is. So like Kingston government will own properties, and if it's vacant for a while or whatever the case may be, they would like give it to someone. So there isn't necessarily formal support around that, because and this is just what I learned, so I'm passing the information on to you. I learned that when a nonprofit such as municipal government gets into the free market world, which is like, you know, competitive, let me get this building, whatever, they can't necessarily publicize it because they give too much information around like economic opportunity within the region. So it's kind of all done through like back channels and stuff. So while we do not have a formal connection with the Kingston government, we have, since the last building, reached out to the planning department and stuff. So we'll definitely be on the lookout and constantly ask about what information they can share about surplus properties. But right now we have no formal connection to the surplus properties here in Kingston.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. I'm just in love with that explodes brick wall. Like, it's
I'm
just
actually tuning
everything.
in from Brooklyn right now, so
Yeah. Oh my God. I need
it's
to
a
go to Brooklyn.
dilapidated brownstone.
Oh, got you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's where we are. Thank you for the questions, because it's nice to sort of like share some of this information that I never think we need to share with the community. So like it feels good to say it.
Yeah, no, I just felt really bad when I read about what happened, and I know you guys have been working so hard, and I know that has to have felt really demoralizing for a minute, but I'm glad you're not giving up, and I'm sure other opportunities will present themselves.
Keeping the faith, keeping the faith. We got it. We can do it. Would any of my colleagues like to add anything to the where we are and with respect to the reimbursements and the new site?
I think you kind of covered it, that you know, we told members that they can expect their refund by the end of this year, end of the end of the last quarter. And that, you know, we're doing our pilot market this weekend, and we hope to do some more the rest of the year, but that we are still working to find another site and open a grocery store. I think maybe somewhere in the communications or just people talking to each other, that, you know, maybe the assumption was that it didn't work out at that building, so it's just not going to happen at all, but that's not the case. We are still working to find a site that's going to be more suitable for the project's needs. So just hopefully everyone can take that away from this meeting.
Sounds good.
And if you're available Sunday, we have the market. We would love to see you there. And there are volunteer opportunities available on our site. You can navigate to find those, but we'd love to see you there if you're available.
Cool. I may not make it this Sunday, but I'll definitely come down soon and check it out and see if I can plug in some volunteer time.
That would be awesome. Thank you so much.
Yeah,
Yeah,
thank
do
you.
you have any more questions? Sorry.
I don't know.
Well, thank you. And on
Thank you,
that
Vicky.
note, I'll move us into our executive session.
Cool. Well, I'll
So,
see y'all sometime
you
soon, I'm
all.
sure. Thank you. Take care.